Edwin Dearborn here, another edition of Growth Driven, word of mouth marketing. We all love it. We all celebrate it. It helps us grow. But what is the simple math where you can start to scale your own word of mouth for your brand? How you doing? Edwin Dearborn here, another edition of Growth Driven, word of mouth marketing. We know the power of it. There's no denying it. Here's my observation about it. People love it, but they don't instigate it. They don't know how to proactively market with word of mouth. It's almost like word of mouth is this thing that just kind of magically happens if you're good. And there's some truth in that. But there's also some truth that there are strategic actions and processes that you can put in place that will actually instigate more word of mouth. And this is even more true today because of the power of social media, influencers, and what are also called micro influencer. A micro influencer is someone that maybe only has 5 or 10,000 followers, but they are followed, they are listened to, they have the ability to influence a few hundred or a few thousand people. And for a small business locally, a few hundred more clients or a few thousand more clients can mean a big deal. So how do we do this? How do we actually proactively create word of mouth? So I had a conversation with a designer, interior designer, that I'm working with in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. And, she's been in business for a long time and, has a little blog and has a nice website and kind of does this and networks but no real systems, no real use of email, light use of social media, and just kind of goes along. So I said, okay, good. She doesn't have a lot of resources, but she has an email database, she has a social channel, and she's got a very beautiful product, and I brought something up to her that I want to share with you because you can use this. I don't care if you're a home designer, you have a hot dog stand, you're a commercial real estate agent, you sell insurance, whatever it is. You know that word of mouth is the most cost-effective, most profitable marketing there is. So I said, you will get as many referrals as you create conversations about your brand. That's the math on it. More conversations about your brand will become more customers. Now, she wholeheartedly agreed with this. She's like, right. I said, look, if we had one person today have a conversation, a positive conversation about your brand, that there's a high likelihood that may become a referral. But what if we had 20 positive conversations about your brand today? We had the same conversation, the same positive conversation, except it went from one positive conversation to one individual to 20 different individuals having a positive conversation about your brand. Would just that scaling of positive conversations about your brand result in more referrals? Yes, because those words coming out of people's mouths in a positive manner about your brand will eventually result in referrals. Maybe not that day, highly unlikely. It could be, my sister was talking about you last month at the party. We had a home welcoming party, and she talked about how you design beautiful kitchens and beautiful bathrooms. And it stuck in my mind, and I had your contact information, and now I'm ready to actually make a decision. So what is the time lag between positive conversations and referrals? Days, weeks, months, even years. But the point is, if we create more conversations, we will create more referrals. So this begs the question, so how do I proactively get people talking about me? Therein lies the solution and therein lies the problem. More conversations is the solution, and more conversations about your brand is also the problem. So I went over with her. I said, well, what we have to do, and there's this book that I have over there in my bookshelf. I don't know if I have it. Is it right there? Yeah. It's about talk triggers. Let me see if I can get this. Yeah, here we go. By Jay Bear. I'm giving Jay Bear a free talk triggers. Read this book. And what's a talk trigger? A talk trigger is something unique or impelling or compelling that impels others to talk about your brand. You have to create something or give away something or possess something about your brand, about your offering, that's worth talking about or worth sharing to others. So this whole book and this whole concept is that you can strategically, with malice aforethought, build things into your brand that will get people talking and sharing about you. That thing could be novel, it could be cute, it could be magical, it could be whimsical, it could be serious, but whatever it is, you're building things into your brand and your branded content that inspires people to talk about you, to share your content on social media to their friends and family. See, if I create a good piece of content here on Facebook Live and YouTube Live, and somebody likes it and then shares it, I'm now tapping into their audience, which I did not have to pay for. I'm using social media as a word of mouth marketing platform by giving my influencers or micro influencers content to then talk about me and share me. So my question is this: what are you doing strategically to build into your brand these talk triggers? How are you using talk triggers at the point of sale? How are you using it as part of your experience? Are you going above and beyond hospitality? What are you doing at customer service touch points to get people to talk about you? Man, you definitely want to go with them. There was no waiting time. They were friendly. They answered my questions. Great customer support. Great customer support. That could be a talk trigger. Your content could be a talk trigger. It's so inspiring. It's so thoughtful. It's so educational. It's so valuable that people not only like it, they share it because, hey, I got a lot of value out of this content. I'm sharing it because there may be other people that like it. And I want to talk to you about a common talk trigger that a lot of people don't leverage that I've personally observed with a brand that you may know very well, and that's Grant Cardone. I went to his conference last year in Vegas, and they would bring up, between speakers, they would bring people up that were drinking his Kool-Aid, having success. And these are small business owners, big business owners, and they would interview them on stage going, hey, what have you gotten out of Grant Cardone? Tell us the growth you've had as a result. And they would eventually ask him, well, how did you originally find out about Grant Cardone? Easily 90% of people said, I found Grant's content on YouTube and I started consuming his content on YouTube. Then I bought a book. Then I told my friends that I was doing 10X. Then I signed up my team members. See, talk triggers. The content was the talk trigger. They got the book, then they followed up with the book, and then he signed up his whole entire staff. And now 12 people are doing Grant Cardone's program in the office because one guy started consuming the content on YouTube. That is one way that you can actually instigate word of mouth by creating more conversations. Every time you create a piece of content, a podcast, an ebook, a post, a video, a live video, a YouTube upload video, a pre-recorded video, and you send it out, you have the opportunity to have people consume it, talk about you, and share it. But if you are a vacuum of influence and you're putting out no content and you got nothing exciting about your brand, let's just say you're a dental office, you're a good dental office, you provide good dentistry, but there's nothing special about your office. There's really nothing special about your website. There's nothing really special of how you treat people. You treat people well, but there's nothing special about it. You're just another dentist of the 300 dentists within 2 miles of my home. You do everything the same. So how do I get people to talk about that practice if there's nothing inside the practice, outside the practice? There's nothing that they do differently. There's nothing distinctive. But the moment that dental office goes, you know what? Let's say the dentist is really into mountain biking. And now he puts a mountain biking theme. He's got mountain bikes and photos of mountain bikes, and he sends out articles that have got, how to be more active. I'm a mountain biker. Maybe you're into golf. And he kind of just owns the thing that he loves, and he really shows some flair and personality. All of a sudden, he gets to be known locally as the doctor who's into mountain biking. A little bit distinctive. Now his Instagram and his YouTube feed, and everything's talking about, hey, I'm out on this trail and I'm out with friends, and he starts to go out with other mountain bikers, and then he gets to be known within that community of hundreds of mountain bikers as the dentist who mountain bikes. And he starts getting referrals because he starts to use his unique perspective, his personality and flair throughout his content, throughout his networking, throughout his office, because he owns who he is. It could be something that small that makes your brand distinctive to instigate more word of mouth. But if you're not creating conversations strategically and creating more of them by leveraging unique branding positions, unique selling propositions, technology, and the reach and power of social media and influencers, you're just losing out on a lot of money. There's so much money out there. We've printed literally $8 trillion in the last 14 months. That's going into the system. There's more people wanting to do things because they're tired of being shut down. Are you going to go out there and instigate word of mouth, get people talking about you, leveraging technology and platforms, and getting that money into you? You need to make a decision right now. Are you going to be proactive about your word of mouth marketing? Are you going to be proactive about your growth? Are you going to become strategic about how to leverage referrals in an intelligent, creative, and consistent manner? When you do that, when you really gravitate yourself and you decide towards that strategic motion, everything changes. Everything changes for your brand. This has been another edition of Growth Driven. Hopefully, this has created a little blue spark of ideas in your mind. If you need help, please reach out to me. In the meanwhile, make it a great day, and we will talk to you soon again.